All right, here we have Polaris HD Pro HD winch. We're going to be installing that on the 2020 Ranger here today. This is the stuff that should come in the box. Our box is a little destroyed, but nevertheless, we've got the winch, the battery cables, the fair lead. This one comes with a wireless winch kit, winch remote kit. This has a auto stop fair lead with a bumper for that. This is that. This is the mount for the fair lead. We've got some hardware and then directions. So these Polaris winches are pretty easy to install. They're all pretty much plug and play. Come with all the hardware, bolts right into what you've got. And it's not that big a deal. I'm going to also be adding this worn plow strap because I'm going to be using this for plowing. So we're going to be removing the rope and installing this. It says right on here it works with both roller and Haas fair leads. So I think we're going to leave the use the one that came with it, see how it works. If it eats through it, we'll have to switch to a roller fair lead, but for now we'll use that. So I think the first thing that we need to do, pull off the bumper, and because this winch mounts right back here behind the bumper, so we have access to back there. So that's where we're going to go. This winch, by the way, is one of these two part numbers, 288, 2710 or 2711. Yes, it is indeed the 2710 version. It's the 6,000 pound version here. So that's what we're working with. So let's get this stuff out of the way, get the bumper off. As far as removing the bumper, it's pretty simple. There's two bolts here, one bolt here, and then there's two up from the bottom. So we'll get this stuff cleared out of the way, and then we're gonna get this bumper off here. We're gonna be using 15 millimeter for all four bolts. Alright, you can see we've got the bumper off now, and we really have access to everything here. Let's pull this hood piece off. So now the first step in installing this winch is going to be just setting it up into place. This winch comes with these little hook tabs on the top of the mount here, and then they hook right on the frame here to hold it in place while you bolt it in. So we got two bolts up here and two down here on the bottom of the mount. Pretty easy. So here's your hardware pack that comes with it. Got a couple different bolts in there, some zip ties for holding wires into place, and a couple nuts. All right, looks like we've got two longer bolts with two lock nuts. Those go on the bottom of the mount here. And we've got two a little bit shorter bolts, flange head, that have the Loctite on them that go on the top up here. So these are pretty simple so far. Working with a 15 millimeter here again. Alright, now that we've got this winch mounted in place, we can run some of these cables and wires. We've got 3 different wires coming from here. We've got the controller for the wireless here, and we've got power wires going to the solenoid for the battery, from the battery. I'm going to run these up first, and we'll take care of these. Let's go up alongside the radiator here, and then up into underneath where the hood is. Alright, this is going to be kind of tough to see here, see if I can get a light. See how the cable runs from the winch there up along the radiator, and then up into the hood console area. There's a clip back there behind the frame, and then one down here lower that hold it in place, and they come up through the frame here, and we're going to tie into the factory positions. Alright, so now once we're up into here, you're supposed to put a clip right here to hold the wires into place. And then one of them feeds to the ground lug here, and the other one goes to this positive terminal here, and these are just battery cables that come straight from the battery up into this area here for accessories, just like this. So we get our 10mm. Torque that to spec, and then we do our negative here. Make sure your battery is disconnected before you do this. So once you get those 2 battery cables ran, you should have power to your winch, and then we need to hook up the winch controller wires. All right, we've got the battery cables connected up here, like I just showed, ran up here. Now the next part is going to be connecting up this wireless winch controller to all these parts. Here's a receiver, a couple wires hanging off here. We've got another wire here, another wire here. So you're like, where the heck do all these wires go? So now this wire with the white plug goes up to the fair lead, which has the electronic shut off for so you don't run the cable in too far. This wire here, the short one, goes to right here, the switch on the solenoid. That's to switch the solenoid on and off. This longer one hanging down the bottom here, it's a female plug. You run it up back behind the winch here, and if you follow these wires down from this voltage regulator here, and you go back behind the radiator, as you can see in there, there's a wire, it's a factory wire right here, and you plug this wire off the switch here into this wire. This is a factory wire inside the wire harness. That's what this little bit longer one here plugs into. So that's what you do there. And then here you've got the wireless winch controller. This gets mounted right up here underneath the dash. Just like so. You got a couple screws to put that in. Then, as far as I'm aware, we run the wires up through this little grommet boot here, and we have to pull this cup holder off, and there's another one of those factory plugs in the wire harness that we have to tap into. So first things first here, let's get this cup holder off here. So this is up underneath where the cup holder was. And there is another plug there that's taped to the wire harness that we need to tap into. This one right here. There it is. So we're going to come through that hole in the firewall right behind that and tap into that. And that is that's a male plug, so we'll use the female plug on this winch controller. Alright, I've attached the wire inside underneath the cup holder. This is just sitting here for now. Before we get everything secured, we're going to test. And let's plug these wires in down here. Key. Nothing. Let's try this fair lead. Nothing. Gotta have the key on. Alright, so I was having a little bit of trouble there for a minute. I have everything plugged in and it wasn't working. I was pretty sure I had everything plugged in properly behind the radiator. You had that plug in, plugged these two in together, have the fair lead plugged in. I have the wireless winch controller here, have that going up through the grommet and the firewall plugged into the factory harness like you're supposed to there. There's no rocker switch on the dash to have to worry about, so that plug on the wireless winch controller isn't needed. I had the key on, didn't know why we weren't getting anything to the winch. So, what do? I went to the fuse panel. Don't judge me by this fuse panel. I bought this Ranger and haven't had a chance to wash it yet, but down here we've got all the different fuses. And the one that says Access 20, that's an accessory fuse. This yellow one right here. That fuse was out. When I changed that, the winch worked. So that was what was wrong. I had everything plugged in properly and everything was correct and working, just we had a bad fuse. So I don't know when that went out or whatever, but it wasn't working. But maybe they had switched it from a different one before I bought this thing. But anyway, let's get everything tidied up here. Get the fair lead mounted on the brush guard. Do that yet. This fair lead here, and then the backing plate for the fair lead we have to mount on there. We have to finish mounting this wireless winch controller to the panel here and secure all the wires and tidy everything up. So let's get that done. All right, to secure this wireless winch controller into this area here, you get 4 T30 torque screws. So that's what we're going to use. And there's already holes in the panel. All right, there we've got all the winch controller wires all nicely ran, and now we have to put the cup holder back in. All right, we've got all the wiring tied up here. And everything is mounted and wired up and ready to go. So now we just need to reinstall the bumper. But before we do that, we have to install the fair lead and the fair lead wiring here. All In order to do that, we've got the wireless fair lead. The sticker goes up, and the backing plate for it. You run the wiring up through this hole. You plug it in here. But I'm not going to do that just yet. Before we get any further, I'm going to pull this blue line off because I'm going to be going with a plow strap. Going with the plow strap, I'm not going to be able to use the bumper for the auto stop. So the auto stop is going to be essentially pointless with the plow. But my particular plow, it'll raise up and it'll hit the frame of the plow to the machine or to the bumper before the winch will bottom out. So, I mean, yeah, you could set the bumper so that it would stop it from hitting, but I don't ever have to lift it high enough for it to even bottom out on the frame. So it's not really a concern with the setup I'm using. So let's spool this cable off here, this rope off here, and see if we can get that strap on. And then in the summertime, I'll probably put this rope back on for actual winching purposes. But in the winter, all I use this for is plowing. If I needed to use the Ranger here for more than just plowing in the winter, I would probably try to run this rope. But I've had trouble with ropes in the past, so I don't know if this one's better or not. But we're just going to go with the strap and see how it works. Kind of do the same thing they had done here. Loop it around underneath itself. I'm actually going to put a piece of tape over it, just kind of hold it in place. It'll just hold it until everything is wrapped tight around it. It's not going to actually hold it if it was going to get pulled out. But it's the tension of the rope wrapped around it that's going to hold it all. So let's wind this in here. Now we can connect this wire and we can set the bumper back into place. Then we'll just have to tidy up this wire so it doesn't get snagged on anything. Alright, now to mount up the bumper. Reinstall the bolts that were 15 millimeter, I believe. Alright, we've got the front end put back together here. We've got the winch on. We've got the strap hooked in here. We put a hook on the end of the strap, the hook that came with the winch. So we're going to give that a shot. We're just going to save the old fair lead bumper. Put that with the rope. And we'll install that in the springtime after the snow melts. So that should be everything we need for the winch. The last thing that we can do is install the mount for our winch controller. Alright, I went with the shifter to mount the wireless remote to for now. It's going to be more convenient for plowing. I don't have to take my hand off the shifter to put the plow up and down. And that makes for faster going backwards and forwards when you hit the snow piles. So I think now the only thing left to do would be to bring this thing outside, hook the plow up, and see if that winch position or the controller position sucks or if it's awesome. And in the future, I did want to add one of these Glacier remote controls for the shifter that they sell for the Glacier plow systems, and they make an adapter for the wire harness to plug in the Pro HD plow. So I might add that if I don't like this wireless setup. But let's go throw the plow on. Alright, there it is, all done. Winch is in, controllers ran, wired up. It was a little bit awkward getting used to the old switch on the handle grip there when up is in. Well, let's see here, up is out, and you'd think up would be lifting the plow up, but up is actually letting the plow out, so it's backwards when you're plowing. So that'll take some getting used to, otherwise I will get the other Glacier controller switch there. But there's your Pro HD plow install. Not too bad. Thanks for watching.